opportunity. I should have, as a patron, I should have wired this place to sound and record all the comedy that went on among the patrons. It would have been better than that TV show called Cheers up in Boston.
Yes.
Would have been better than that.
I remember someone stood on that stage and made this statement. He said, Boston might have Cheers, but we have Neirs.
That's right.
Everybody in the place
statement.
just literally just like
was
just crying with excitement.
Yeah.
So guys,
Cheers and Neirs.
I want to properly introduce everyone. This is on our public page. We have a very special guest today. I just happened to be here. I'm not here a lot, but I think it was just divine that I happened to be here because the amazing, longest guest of Neir's Tavern is here today, Mr. Paul Clement. He's one of the gentlemen that I met when I first got here. And come to realize that we're not just saving a piece of wood and a ceiling, a tin ceiling. We're saving people's history. This is the People's Museum. And Paul is so much more of Neir's and Bodies Neir's than anyone that I've known. And here he is.
And my good luck is, I said to Val, the front door is closed. It's not 2 o'clock yet. I said, let's go and knock on the back door. Well, we didn't even have to knock. The door was in. I walked in, and even this morning I was saying, I wonder if Lloyd will be there.
That's right.
And you were.
That's right.
Yeah, it's definitely history. So I remember I was telling people, we were saying that you came here in 1953. You tried to make this like an annual pilgrimage, and you did it all the way up to probably the pandemic.
Yes,
And
I would say so.
Yes. And so we're about 5 years a little short because we had to stop.
Right.
And so we're going to see if we can make that up so you can keep your streak. Now, what is 1953, and here, what is that? Is that 60? How many years is that? Is that 60 something years? Right? Maybe is that 70 years yet?
All right, let's get the calculator out.
There might be 70 years. Let's see. Anybody in the comments, let me know. All right. And so, what was one of the fondest memories of you being at Neir's Dive? So now you're 90 this year, right?
72 years.
I'm 90.
Okay.
Just a few days ago.
So just a few days ago, Paul Clement turned 90 years old.
Yeah.
He's been coming here since 1953. That will give us about 72 years.
Yeah.
This is officially, and I'm sorry, we have another gentleman I love, Chuck. He's 86. And he's been coming here just around the same time. And I hadn't seen you in a while, so I probably misspoken and said, well, looks like Chuck's got it.
Right.
Yeah.
You're reclaiming your title today.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chuck.
Well,
Sorry, Chuck. I love you, Chuck.
it was
Chuck,
just
let's get over a beer.
Yes.
the fact that Neir's was my home tavern even after I got married and moved away, and so much fun was had here at any time of day, and I never saw an ugly scene at Neir. Never.
Oh my goodness.
Never.
That is amazing.
You know.
Yeah.
And,
I love that.
And
why is that?
I guess it was the clientele was not youngish. They were middle-aged and senior citizens, and I'm told this is before my time even. Hank Schetzel, the German guy who lived a block down that way, he's long dead, but he was an usher. He said that he came here long before I did. He was 3 years old, and he sat on Aunt Julia's lap. Aunt Julia was an aunt in the Neir's family.
Yes.
but he always taunted me, says, Paul, you're a latecomer. I came here with 3 years. When he said, I said, bullshit. And then I'm a cash customer longer than you are.
Technicalities. Oh
Yeah,
my God.
right.
So this is really a treat.
Yeah.
This is amazing that you're able to share this with everyone.
Yeah.
I try to tell people that Neir's Tavern is more than just a place. It's a memory. It stands for America.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're losing so many small business that represents the community.
Yeah.
But we still got this. And I tell people that, people come and go. And I want to know why, after you moved away, you still. I have problem. I'm gonna let you know the honest truth. We market. We tell people Neir's Tavern, and we get people that come here. We're so happy, but people forget.
Yeah.
You're 90 years old,
Yeah.
and you still have not forgotten Neir's Tavern.
No, sir. No,
I am.
sir.
This goes to show you, this is where the values are.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that.
Yeah.
I'm 16 years in. I should have given up a long time ago because this is a very challenging business.
You're 60 now?
No, 16 years I've owned this place.
Oh, you've owned
Yes.
you've owned it 16 years.
16
Yeah,
years,
right.
yes.
Okay.
Why did you keep coming back?
Because Woodhaven was my hometown, even though I moved away, and this was the first. When I turned 18, this was the first bar I was introduced to. A friend of mine, a boyhood friend, he brought me in here and he told me what a great place this was. I came here, I discovered it, and it stayed with me for all time. That Neir's was just a fine place to go, have a beer, no doubt have a laugh or two. And it stayed with me. And for many of those years, Dennis Remsen was the bartender, and his mood would be up and down. And I'd come in and I'd have a beer and I'd ask Remsen. I said, "Can you make me a hamburger?" And if he was in a bad mood, he'd instantly say, "No." And then he'd be quiet for a little while. And about less than 10 minutes later, the hamburger came out from the kitchen.
He felt that.
Yeah.
You had a lot of characters back then.
Yeah, he as I say, he stirred the pot and got the comedy going,
I'm going to ask you a couple quick fire questions. Do you remember, you talked about Julia Neir. Neir, Aunt Julia, you mentioned about.
No,
have you ever met, did you meet
that
her?
was before my
your
time.
Okay, that was before.
Yeah, right.
She ran this place in a time where women should not be at the bar.
Right.
Which was
I believe
amazing
that.
that
I believe
all the
that.
other places women weren't allowed to be near the bar. They had to go sit in the back.
That's right. They'd have to.
Yeah,
They'd either get a drink or a meal in the back.
right.
I remember hearing about that, although that was never the way it was when I
Right.
first came here in '53.
Right. I mean, it was amazing that, it was acceptable here at Neir's Tavern. That goes to show you how special the place was, that, a woman like Julia Neir can run a tavern when throughout the country, women weren't even allowed to be at the bar counter, period. You had to be in the back. So this was just a special place overall.
Yeah. Now I can tell you another thing out of memory and experience. At this bar, Martin Scorsese shot some scenes for Goodfellas, and whenever I see Goodfellas being played on TV, I'll hang out until some of the scenes from Neir's show up, and I know the place had to close down for a few weeks while Hollywood did their thing, but it was so well remembered when you see those scenes from Goodfellas. And I remember, I didn't see this myself, but I was told they had to build up the floor to make it flush with the back floor.
Really?
And you could see patrons were sitting too high at the bar.
Yeah, I saw that in the
That's
thing,
right.
but I was wondering maybe
Yeah,
they put the
yeah.
chair high.
That's right. They were
Oh.
too high because they had to raise the floor so that the mobile cameras could roll along and shoot the scenes.
Oh.
And I remember the scenes were when this is another piece of trivia.
I remember a lot.
The main character in the movie Goodfellas is Robert De Niro.
Right,
His character name was Jimmy Conway,
that's right.
and I wonder if Jimmy Conway was a patron at this bar. I never met him. I met his brother Kenny Conway.
Really?
But the golf, you see your golf
Yes.
medallions up at the front door.
Yes, yes.
You'll see somewhere up there. You'll see Jimmy Conway's name. He was always a promoter of an annual golf tournament out of Neir's at Forest Park Golf Course.
Wow.
And I
I'm gonna have
never
to
met
look
the
at it
man.
again. Like, is it?
What, same Jimmy Conway is depicted in the movie, same person, or it's just same name?
I'll go take a look. We'll take a look.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll take a
you
look.
somewhere
Yeah.
his name should be up there.
Yeah. Well,
I'm-
that was in
I'm-
the movie itself. That whole.
Yeah. I
Right.
knew his
Yeah.
brother, who was a patron here. His name was Kenny Conway. He just lived over the borderline somewhere in Brooklyn, and I was very friendly with Kenny Conway. For years and years, I bought 2 jet season tickets from him. He would buy 4, keep 2 for himself, and sell 2 to me. And I was always grateful for that, and I was always happy to see Kenny when he was here. Of course, he's long gone, but
Do you remember the bowling alley?
I certainly do. I think there were 2 alleys.
Yes.
And I never bowled on them, but I certainly remember the 2 alleys. And I think in those days, you'd bowl a game and you'd flip a dime to the pin setter as
Yes.
a tip.
Yes. Because it wasn't automatic.
No,
like,
it wasn't automatic. They
you
had
had to-
a kid would be the pin setter.
Right.
Ten-
Were you ever a pin setter at all?
No, but I knew the alleys were there, and I never bowled on them, but I remember them well, and I know at some point in time, maybe when you did your renovation, is that when they pulled the alleys?
Yeah. Well, we didn't do that.
You didn't.
That was next door.
Oh,
And so they put a floor over it.
oh,
Ripped down everything else, but the actual flooring was still there to put a floor.
yeah.
Now, recently, the landlord was doing a whole nother gut renovation.
Yeah.
So they just ripped up the actual
Oh,
bowling
I
alley.
see, yeah.
What about the ballroom?
I never saw, you go through the back door, there was a ballroom back there that way back in time when Mae West was performing on stage, she did perform one or more times here at the ballroom. I never saw the ballroom, but you had a life-size portrait of Mae West dressed in her gay 90s outfit, and there it is,
Yes.
still there. That's a landmark.
Yes. And she had a house 2 blocks down that way.
I never knew that.
Yes, so the marker is still there today to show
Huh.
where she lives.
So she must have been way back when a Woodhavenite,
Yes, she was. That's definitely true.
and that's a plus.
Yeah, well,
To
she's,
me personally, that's a plus.
she was.
Woodhaven.
Yep, she was an icon. She was
Yeah.
an icon.
Oh yeah.
So this is just absolutely a treat today. Thank you guys for listening to my dear friend Paul Clement. I'm just overjoyed and excited because you were with me when I first got here, and
Yeah.
you kind of like was the, you know, like linked me to some of the things
Yeah.
that happened before I got here. I didn't know what I was in store
Right.
for. I mean, for me, it was a historic place,
Uh-huh.
but to put a face to it and the actual people really made the, you know, rubber
Yeah.
hit the ground.
Right.
You know, like
And you wanted to keep like the authenticity, the history. It
Yeah.
was really wonderful.
I knew it was important, but I it's hard when you don't. It's hard to put a face to the people that's connected.
Much a part of him.
But
Big time.
yeah,
Big-
I
big
wanted
part of him.
to.
this is amazing. All right, guys, we're gonna go finish speaking with Paul, and thank you guys for listening. We're gonna take this video, we're gonna chop it up a little bit,
Okay.
and keep sharing
Beautiful.
Paul's story, and just keep on the road to 200. In 2029, Neir's Tavern is gonna turn 200 years old.
Oh, oh,
Are you gonna be here with us?
God willing. There's an old saying in Middle America: God willing, and the river don't rise.
All right, so on the road to 200, we're 195, and Paul's gonna be there with us.
Okay.
All right, all right.
If not in the flesh, in the spirit.
That's wonderful. Same here. If I go make
Right.
it. Thank you guys. Have a great day, and
Yeah.
we'll talk to you soon. As always, community conquers all.